I'm going to start with a bold claim. AJA's Student Council sucks at its job. I know it, you know it, council members know it, administrators know it. Now, the Student Council, the administration, and the student body all share some of the blame for its failings. But largely, Stuco's issues are a product of its structure. I conducted 9 interviews with student council members, student body members, and administrators. From these discussions, several things have become clear. First, the council received near unanimous praise for event organization. Second, it received near unanimous criticism for representative ability. Third, nobody can name a single concrete school policy that the administration had changed because of the student council. And fourth, everybody agreed that something needs to change. That is why I'm here today. Before that, some background information. A student government is an organizational structure of students within a school. It's usually tasked with organizing events for the student body and representing the students' interests to the administration. An effective student government can have many benefits, including fostering political engagement, encouraging community service, developing leadership skills, improving student life, and giving students a voice in their own education. Many of these effects can be tangible. For instance, after one Russian university implemented a new student government in 2013, its students reported a significant increase in participation in student organizations, satisfaction with professional development and administrative consideration of student opinion, and their assessment of the influence of student opinion on scheduling. AJA's Student Council also has some lofty goals. According to last year's AJA Stuco information packet and nomination application, Stuco's mission is to, quote, act as role models, serve as the voice of the student body to the administration, help shape school culture, increase student spirit and involvement, and influence school policy and practice. As you can see in the diagram in the board, Stuco is currently divided into 2 sections, the grade co-representatives and the cabinet. The 2 co-representatives from each grade are meant to organize grade level events and communicate the grade's needs to the cabinet. The cabinet, consisting of 2 juniors or seniors as co-presidents and 1 sophomore, junior, and senior each as cabinet members, is meant to manage communications, run fundraisers, and represent the students to the administration. The 2 sections jointly plan and implement school-wide programming. Our current system doesn't work. We don't get the benefits that we should. The co-representatives I spoke to raised concerns that they didn't have any real power or voice on the student council or to the administration. The cabinet members I spoke with had concerns that rather than representing the student body to the administration, they instead acted as a mouthpiece for the administration. The administrators I spoke with said that they didn't necessarily trust the student council to represent the students' interests. And the student body members I spoke with criticized the election process and its tendency to produce Stuco members who wouldn't represent everybody. Clearly, something needs to change. After listening to suggestions from the people I interviewed, I have created a comprehensive plan for restructuring the student council, which the majority of student council members have already voiced their support for. As you can see in the diagram on the board, my plan consists of 2 separate wings of the student council. The activities wing, consisting of 1 junior or senior as the activities president, and 1 sophomore, junior, and senior each as activities cabinet members, will manage communications and fundraising, and plan and implement grade and school level activities. The representative wing, consisting of 1 sophomore, junior, or senior as the representative president, 1 sophomore, junior, and senior each as representative cabinet members, and 2 co-representatives from each grade, will act as the face of the student body, manage a discretionary budget, and organize various meetings with different groups, such as club presidents. The co-representatives will work closely with the activities wing as well, and they will have veto power for grade level events. The 2 presidents will coordinate external affairs, such as charity events and community service, and the 2 sections will jointly release periodic updates to the students and administration. I have several other planned changes as well, which I'd be happy to discuss during the Q&A session, along with any questions regarding the rationale behind certain changes. Additionally, I will be founding our school's first political party, the Student Voice Party. which will represent all parts of the student body, and pressure the administration to allow the student council more power, influence, and a fixed, substantial discretionary budget. I now call on all STUCO members and prospective student council candidates to join the Student Voice Party and present a unified voice for the student body. Finally, assuming my plan for restructuring the student council is adopted, I will be running for representative president in the upcoming elections. If my plan is not adopted, I will instead run for senior cabinet member, and I will continue to campaign for significant changes to the student council and an increased student voice in school policy. I hope I can count on your vote. Thank you.
So throughout your speech, you mentioned that you had other plans that you'd like to discuss or that you're willing to discuss in the Q&A section. What are those plans?
Well, one major change that I plan to implement is to the election process. I hope to expand the election process, allow candidates to write, perhaps write articles for ballot to communicate their policy positions to the student body, and also perhaps have a town hall style debate in which candidates can be asked questions by the student body. I also plan to implement term limits for most positions to make sure that there is a diversity of opinion among the student council.
Thank you.
Jared?
Two questions, or actually two in a comment. One is, with term limits, like, what if somebody's like really good at what they do and most students are really happy they still can't go for a third year?
Well, consider the US presidency, right? Even if a president is really good, even if they're the perfect president, everybody loves them, right? Hasn't happened in a while, but they're still only allowed to run for two terms, because allowing any more than that could lead to an abuse of power. It's the same thing here. Eventually, a STUCO member could stop representing the students, even if they have done a good job in the past.
The second question is that, like, you said maybe they potentially write in ballot just to articulate their ideas, but like, would that be necessary? Because personally, I'm not a good writer, and I probably would have lost every election I was in because the people that I went against were better writers. But I think I've done a pretty decent job. So would they have to write in ballot, or could that be just an option?
Well, I don't see any reason why it would be mandatory. I think it is a good way to get your positions out there, but I don't think it should be required, because in a case, like as you've said, of someone who isn't a good writer but could still represent the students well, they shouldn't be forced to write a ballot article, and they should find some other way of getting their message out. Yes?
So you mentioned that having a term limit would make it more diverse STUCO, and that there would be more diverse opinions. But it would still be possible that it would be the same group being represented if it was one dominant group. So is there other ways to make it that the smaller groups are represented?
Yeah. So one part of my two-wing structure for the student council is that it splits up the activities function of the student council, which is dominated by the popular kids, the kids who go to events, the kids who know about events. They're the ones who are good at organizing events. And the representative wing, on the other hand, would be for students who are good at representing people. There would be different elections, different election processes for each wing, and each wing would be elected individually in order to make it so it's not just a popularity contest like some students have complained about the current structure of STUCO. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
So,
Yes.
Doran, just for time, we've clearly got people talking, but make it one last question.
Okay.
How would you go about electing people if the majority of the grade didn't want to run for student council, but needed new representatives?
Well, so I don't think that has been a problem in our current student council setup. I don't think there are any currently unfilled positions. And my plan doesn't actually add a whole lot to the student council. It only adds one extra cabinet position per grade. I know that usually there are multiple people who are competing for a cabinet position or for co-representatives, and it allows them to have another option for something that they could run for to represent their grade and to represent the students.